Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk. Can't see you up there, Chimi. Are you with me?
I'm here, but I'm still backstage, I think.
Okay,
Mabes?
let me see. Here you go.
Hi.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. How are
How are
you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. You look
Oh,
beautiful in pink.
and you do too.
My
Love
little
it.
Easter getup.
Love it. How are you getting ready for this Easter weekend?
So, every year for any holiday, the conversation is always like, what are we going to eat? Right. So I decided finally yesterday I'm going to make braised short ribs and mashed potatoes. So, and maybe a carrot cake. I don't know, but that's at least the main part of the meal is already set. So I'm excited about that. How about
Have,
you?
have a carrot cake in my fridge. I don't
It's
know
so
yet.
underrated.
I love carrot cake. Did you make your own? Of course, I bought mine from a bakery.
Okay. Look, I love bakeries. I think that we need to keep bakeries alive and
Yes.
support the smaller ones, especially.
Yeah, we
Yes, I
have a
will probably
great
make my
mom and
own.
pop one.
Yes, I will definitely probably make my own, but I have to. I mean, at this point, like when you become like the baker of the family, like that's your job forever. Like
Hmm.
everyone's birthday, special events, like that's just what you do. But I love it though, so I have no problem. And I love knowing what's going into my carrot cakes because sometimes like the only complaint, and that's just because I'm picky because now I do it and I did it for a living, is you're like, I just want like a little bit more of this in there. I want a
Hmm.
little bit more of that. So I'm able to customize it, which is great. And then I can cater it to what we like. But other than that, still support the mom and pop shops for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. I don't even know what I want to do for dinner. Probably ham. My son loves ham. Ham,
Mm.
sweet potato casserole. I love making sweet potato casserole.
Can we have like an online petition to always have sweet potato casserole no matter what the holiday? Because I'm like, I only
And it
feel
has to
like
have texture. You got to put a little texture on
yeah,
top.
because I'm always like, it's only for Thanksgiving. No, it's a year-round delicacy, period. Like,
I
where
love
is
it.
the petition for that, you know?
They're so good. They're good for the dogs too, so they get the leftovers.
Yes. Oh, I love that. They love sweet. I remember my dog used to love sweet potato, peanut butter. I mean, pretty much anything, but it was good for him, especially towards the end of his life, because it was soft. So it was good for his teeth.
Yeah. I get a little, I'm a little around holidays, not very celebratory, I guess you could
Mm,
say. Coming from a big family and it being dysfunctional, the most important thing for a lot of family members was where's the cooler at? Like where are we
right.
gonna grab that beer? And then it began, and I always found myself just kind of fading away in the background and not wanting to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I lost my dad when I was 10, 3 days after Christmas. So
Oh, wow. I'm
Christmas
so
kind
sorry.
of, thank
Yeah.
you. And then my mom, um, she had a stroke on the 25th of September, which is my birthday, and
Wow.
then broke her hip. And they were going to fix her hip the next day on the 26th, um, at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I left at like 3 a.m. just to run home and take a shower and be back at the hospital for 6. And when I stepped out of the shower, my phone rang and it was a hospital saying we found your mom unresponsive. And I
Oh,
was like,
wow. I'm so
so
sorry.
that's her birthday. And then I never got her back after that. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I hear you
There,
with that.
it's
It's
very, I mean, I kept, when my children were young, I kept the smile on my face and of course, decorated and all that. But now it's kind of like they all have their own homes and I don't have to do that. So I tend to, if I'm invited to their place, I'll go. But just, I'm gonna get back in the swing of things one,
yeah. Your
especially
mic
with the
is
grandchildren now.
yeah, your mic's kind of going in and out a little bit.
Is
So I'm
it?
just
Maybe
letting you
get
know.
closer. Maybe it's my beats. Yeah, my beats in.
Yeah, now I can hear you clearly. It's perfect now.
Better?
I hear you with that. I kind of felt that way about my birthday, like for a really long time, because the adults around me were interesting to say the least. I'm not trying to bash anyone or, because in retrospect, where I'm at in my life now, I'm able to forgive it. But for a long time, I didn't want to celebrate my birthday just because I just kind of felt like, I don't know, like everything was always about someone else. And my day kind of took a backseat. There was always some drama going down, or like if I wanted to stay home and didn't want to see anyone, it was a problem. So there was always this like non-respect for boundaries, which, I'm very big on now and have less guilt around them now as an adult. But as a kid, you don't really understand like why every time it's your birthday, there's problems. But when it's someone else's birthday, it's smooth and everything's great and we all get along. But for certain birthdays, it's a problem. Same with the holidays. Like I can resonate with that, not to the degree with, your family. And again, I'm so sorry, my condolences.
Thank
Um,
you.
but with holidays, it's always like, I don't understand. I don't know if it's something in the energy that makes people angrier, or we have to get together, and like that's when you really know if people really like each other or not, I guess, because
Right. And then
oh
at Christmas, the commercialization of Christmas. It's like, does anyone just remember the true meaning of Christmas? It was the birth of Jesus Christ.
I mean, even Easter, when did the bunny
Easter.
and the chocolates come through, right? Like
Right.
that
Right.
has nothing to do with Jesus.
No, he
Like
was resurrected. He died for us and then came back. I
right.
mean, so
And
yeah, it's just
honestly, what an honor it is to do this live today during like Easter weekend and to remember that, because sometimes we can all get caught up in all the nonsense that we forget that, oh, Terry, hi, Terry.
there.
Yes. Oh, Terry, I love her. Um, we can kind of get caught up in all of the side tangent stories of our lives and all of this other stuff that we forget that these little holidays that we do get to celebrate, especially one like Easter and to celebrate Christ, is it's such a big deal. And I'm not a religious person, but I believe in Jesus Christ and what he embodied and personified. Christ consciousness is 100% up my alley and what I believe and live by. So it is really great that we got to do this today, because this is Holy Weekend, and it's to remember that and to remember how, what is it that we can do to kind of live more in that consciousness and not be so like, El Diablo, like how can we
Right. I
change things,
agree.
you know?
I agree.
But
I
I'm not gonna lie, I
agree.
love a Cadbury egg. I love a Cadbury egg. I can't lie. They are delicious.
That's the one with the marshmallow in the middle.
Yeah, the cream filling, it's so good. I will have a couple Cadbury eggs, and like they recently came out with like a white chocolate one. Oh, I'm
See, if
not
they
a big
came out with a hazelnut, I would like it, but I don't like marshmallow. I would love the hazelnut middle. That'd be good.
well, you would love a Kinder egg.
Oh, Bill's here.
Hello, Bill. He's here.
Yeah. You
Yay,
bring
Bill.
him
We were
up.
praying for you.
Actually on my cell phone, so I apologize if my camera's off.
That's okay. Hi, Bill.
Hi. Bill, this is my friend Chimi. She's from your neck of the woods.
Hi, Bill. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you also. Okay.
How did it go? I mean, you don't have to go into detail if you won't want to, but
It went quickly.
yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
so everything's good. We'll find out the results later. Okay, I apologize. It was a situation that popped up and I had to jump.
That's
yeah,
okay. Please don't
Mhm.
apologize for living life. Like, that's okay.
exactly. Are you home?
Yes, I'm actually on my way home.
Nice, nice. So, you want to come on in and share your journey with us?
Sure, by all means, I can do that. It's not a problem. Okay, so how do we? I'm sorry, I'm late. So you tell me what I need to do right now.
You can just go ahead and introduce yourself and take it from there.
Yeah.
Okay. This is ACA.
Nope, we don't have a platform. You can mention it, but I don't use any of the 12-step platform associations, but you can certainly use the terminology. That's fine.
Okay.
We are
Fair.
not counselors, we are not doctors, we are not medical, we don't give advice, but we're just
We're
here to
just people
share
on
our
the internet
journeys and
conversations.
yep, and just
Okay.
have
Fair
real
enough.
life talks.
Okay. This is, it's interesting. Bill, I'm out of Brooklyn. Uh, been around the world a little bit. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Um, it's been a journey and a half. When I first began to live my life, I had this idea of who I was going to be and who I was going to become, and things started out pretty good. I bounced around from different places. I grew up in Newark, Trenton, Cincinnati. It was a tough life. I mean, it was brutal. I wasn't growing up in the good parts of town. I was growing up in the meaner parts of town. Many a time I would come home either covered in my blood or somebody else's. Okay, it was that type of scenario. Eventually, we managed to uh, move up in life, moving on up, as they say. Okay. And as we moved up, I managed to get into a different situation where I was living in neighborhoods that were affluent.
Mm.
Because of that, I was given opportunities that I didn't get in the inner city. Because of that, I was able to get involved in some um, ex- ex- programs that were for individuals who had potential. I got involved in a engineering program that was away from the high school. Um, I was the only student that was actually allowed to go to that. They would pick me up on a regular basis and bring me in, and it was Bell Labs, and I would work with the engineering projects and things like that they would allow us to actually work on and give input on some of the devices they were developing. Um, I became a National Honor Society individual. Okay, uh,
Nice.
and I was also became the Paperboy of the Year for the state of New Jersey. So I went from basically having a life that was pretty beat up to a life that had a lot of potential. Um, Many colleges came to actually try to enroll me. Okay. I have quite a few applicants that were, quite a few colleges that are looking for me to become one of their students. Ended up going, Dartmouth was the top of the league, top of the list. Um, and things changed once I got out of high school, not for the better. The world opened up to me, and I took advantage of what was going on in the world and not necessarily focusing on my academics. And
Mm.
because of that, I managed to find myself moving from Dartmouth to Stevenson Institute of Technology to Rutgers and finally Mercer County Community College. And I managed to do that all within 2 years. Uh,
Wow.
from from there, I bounced around a little bit. I was very good at programming. So I ended up going to IBM. And
Oh, wow.
Nice.
so I was there at IBM for about a year. And then after that, I left IBM. Um, the division we were working on was the PC Junior, which was the first laptop computer that was coming out there. They closed that division down because it wasn't very, um, no one accepted PC Junior. So it basically crashed. And then they're moving down to Carolina. I decided I want to do that. So I stayed in New Jersey. I did kind of bounced around a little bit, got different types of jobs. I basically went to a maintenance company, and within a couple of months, I was actually the day manager, basically running everything in the daytime. Um, and from there, I went to a couple other different places. If you want to give me any direction to go from there, by all means, please do that.
You're more than welcome to speak about your ACA journey. Like I
Okay.
said, I just don't, you don't do the literature and things like for the 12-step program. So,
Okay.
you know, but yeah, feel free.
Okay.
We
Um,
um we talked a little bit about boundaries this morning, so if you want to add those in and how you
by all
created
means,
them and how you use them, so yeah,
that'll
we
be
can
And
talk
how
perfect.
about it all.
That'll be
to.
perfect. Okay, yeah, that's all I need to hear. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
from there, one of the things I've noticed is that as I was growing up, I didn't have much structure. And because I didn't have a lot of structure, because of that, I managed to get myself involved in situations where I was always trying to help other people, always trying to fix other people, protect them, control them. And because of that, one of the things I discovered was because of how I grew up and who I was, because of all the difficulties I had no sympathy for individuals who were having problems. Okay, I'm like, what is your problem? I mean, from where I came from, you're being handed everything on a silver platter. So why can't you figure this out?
Ooh, Bill, you're preaching right now. That is so true.
And that
Yeah. So my story leads into that. Okay, because one of the things that eventually happened is I bounced around from place to place. I was working import export. And one of the things I used to do while I was doing import export, I used to read the Investor Business Daily, which is a magazine in regards to finance. And on a whim, I decided to become become a stockbroker,
Oh,
and
wow.
I became a Wall Street stockbroker, and I did that for a couple of years. So,
stress.
well, the
Yeah, I
stress
was
was
just
there.
about to say those cortisol levels were probably out of control because it is such a stressful environment. My
I only
Well,
gosh.
see it on TV, so it looks very stressful.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they're always like throwing paper everywhere. It's like a whole
well,
thing.
those movies you saw were real. The Wolf of Wall Street, The Boiler
Right.
Room, that was the real deal. And the thing was, I was fine with that. Okay, because of where I came from, inner city, everything else. You just dealt with that. So when I started talking to individuals who were having difficulties, I became like a mentor to people. And one of the things I noticed was that people did not, they were allowed their emotions to get involved. My feeling basically, if there was ever a crisis situation that you were getting involved in, okay, the idea basically was you would just simply look at what the problem was, figure out what the solution was, and then take action. And the emotion piece just got in the way. So why were people are always stuck in the emotions? I couldn't understand what that was all about. Emotions are not helpful. Okay, panicking is not helpful. Being stressed out is not helpful.
Right.
Being afraid, fear, all those things get in the way. And I
Mhm.
couldn't understand why people were just like that, because in my life I always had to deal with my problems on my own time. No one ever was there to help me out. So when I
Right.
saw other people going through these problems, one of the things I said to myself was, I couldn't understand what the problem was. And one of the things I realized is because I've always tried to control people in the sense of telling them what to do, I would get frustrated with them when they wouldn't take those actions, when they would basically go back to their old behaviors, such as, feeling sorry for themselves, looking for pity, asking people to help them. Okay. I said to myself, no, that's not the solution. And I'm not going to be a person who's going to basically hold your hand through these situations. You got to pull up your bootstraps, and you got to do this on your own.
Right.
And one of the things I discovered in doing that is people don't like you telling them what to do.
Sorry.
You don't do that, do you?
Listen, but you know what? Bill is so on point though, because people and Bill, and I'm just going to chime in really quickly because you must be in my head and you must be in my, like, in the energy of like what is going on even currently in my own personal life. It's like I'm a very solution oriented person. And with, I had my own childhood issues with like adults not really pulling their weight, and I just kind of had to raise myself to some degree. But what you realize is that people are just comfortable in their own victimhood or in their own misery. That if you are a solution oriented person, it can be interpreted like you're being a jerk because you're like you got to figure it out, like get it together. And if you don't want to extend or open your energy anymore to be consumed by someone who doesn't want to help themselves, you're now public enemy number one. And that is, I'm so happy and it's so refreshing to hear you say that, because our society has been conditioned into believing that helping others is enabling them, is supporting them through all of their issues, but also not establishing like, maybe I just don't have the capacity to be open to helping you because it seems that you're committed to your chaos. And I have to allow you to do that without it being a sacrifice to my own personal peace. So thank you for saying that, because I feel like at least there's yet another like-minded soul on this earth who I've had this experience where like I've been the enemy just because I've said no. And I don't want to deal with this stuff, or I don't want to help you anymore because I can't. And ultimately, it's up to you to help yourself. So, sorry, I just had to insert there that I really appreciate you for that, because it needs to be said louder for the people in the back. Just saying.
You know what? That's the piece that took me a little while to figure out. Because what I would do is go out of my way to help people or show up for them or try to do it. And then they wouldn't show up for themselves, or they wouldn't show up at all. You know, I would take time out of my day to say, hey, listen, why don't we get together, sit down, and let's discuss this. Let's see if we can work this out. And then they wouldn't show up. So two things were happening. One, I was getting resentful. And I was ending friendships, ending relationships, okay, becoming angry at these individuals. And I realized the problem had nothing to do with them. Like you said, if they want to embrace their victimhood, by all means, do it. But that didn't mean I also had to be a piece of that. And I had to learn, like you said, to say no. Okay, listen, I'm going to be available to you, but you know what? You have to show up. And I'm not going to waste my time on individuals who don't want to help themselves.
Amen.
Okay, so what I learned to do was basically this. I will help people. But the minute they stop showing up, the minute they stop following through, the minute they stop doing the things they said they were going to do, I said, fine. And I walk away. Because I need to take care of me.
Yes.
I'm the priority. Okay. And once I started doing that, one of the things that started to happen was my relationships with these individuals became a lot healthier. And the reason I say healthier is I no longer was emotionally involved in their, I don't want to say recovery, but however they're looking to fix themselves. What I've noticed is this. There are individuals who I talk to who are really like yourself. They want to learn. They want to figure out how to get out of it. So what I've done with some individuals, I sit down with the yellow pad and I put down, negatives and positives. And I go, where do you want to be in 3 months, in a year, in 3 years? What's your goals? And I sit down with them with those goals and say, these are the actions you need to take to get to those goals. And with every one of those individuals that I have done this with, every single one of those individuals has found a level of success they never thought was possible. And that's the healthy boundary that I learned how to commit to. Okay, boundaries are about not getting emotionally involved with individuals, not trauma bonding with them, okay, or anything else that they're doing. I'm available to you to give you a solution. And I'm going to basically tell you what my solution was based on my own experience. If you wish to do the same thing, by all means, you're free to do it. But I no longer put their self-interest in front of my own. I will be available to you when I'm available to you. I will not sacrifice my own comfort to help you become comfortable. And what I've noticed about when I do that is, if in fact, I've learned to accept people for who they are now, not who I think they should be.
Ooh, Bill.
And that's one of my boundaries too, is being able to say no without explaining, because I need to protect my peace and energy.
Right. Okay. So listen, There's a lot more to this, okay, but the idea basically says I don't want to take control. That's the other thing. I've learned not to take control.
Mm.
Okay, I've learned to listen to people. And what I mean by listen, I mean hear them. A lot of times people, what they want to do is they're waiting for their opportunity to say something. Okay, I now sit down with people, I hear them, I see them, and I follow up with them. And when I mean follow up, I mean I follow up saying, hey, 2 weeks ago, last week, we talked about this. How are things going? Okay, and then they know I'm paying attention. Okay, it's not like I'm sitting there saying, like for instance, I just went through something that was a major deal, but that's my stuff. Okay, when I talk to other people, when we talk about things, for instance, if we go to an art gallery, I talk about the art. Okay, I don't talk about my problems. Okay, with my friends and relationships, we talk about things we have in common that we both enjoy. Okay, not about things that I want to help fix.
Right.
Okay, or I think they should have fixed.
Right.
Okay, so if at all possible, I like to come back
Yeah.
when I'm not like, I got 15 things going on. Okay, if that's okay with you too.
And we can see your wonderful face.
Yes.
Yes. What,
You're
look,
more
what an
than welcome,
honor,
God.
Bill. You're awesome. Like, I am just so grateful to even have had like this tiny like moment with you too. And thank you, Renee, for allowing this to happen, because she's like, I want you to come on with Bill. And I'm like, I know why she said that now. Like, it's just like, it just makes sense. So it's really just a pleasure. And please, like, whatever you need to do, obviously, like whenever you're around, Renee obviously will let me know too. And I'm down.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. You know how to get me. And thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of a day that was, I'm sure tough and emotional for you and probably a little nerve-wracking. So I feel
What?
blessed that you took the opportunity to hop in. That's
Not a problem. You know
amazing.
what? I managed to do what I needed to do and still show up.
That's right.
Yeah.
You did that,
Yeah.
Bill. Yes, Bill.
And remember, don't feel guilty
Awesome.
for resting and taking care of you.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. So I'll just pause here and however you want to go from here, that's fine.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. See, I told you you would get that little relate vibe.
Oh my gosh, you were on point, Miss Renee. You were on point. And I think it's
The other,
just, go ahead, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead. I'll go after you.
Um, no, I just think that it's just so refreshing to hear people who have kind of been solution oriented. Like, that's a trait that unfortunately is loved and hated passionately by a lot of people, because you can I'm a pattern observer. Like, that's just who I am by nature. I observe patterns. Like, my childhood has taught me to be an observer of patterns of behavior in people. And I used to gaslight myself into believing that maybe I'm delusional in thinking what I'm thinking or seeing what I'm seeing. And it's like, no, my gut was right about a lot of people that I've clocked from the very beginning, just because people will voluntarily tell on themselves. And the issue is that we've kind of been conditioned to excuse it, or to say, no, it's not really like that. So we're constantly in, especially if you come from a childhood where your boundaries aren't solid and those weren't respected, because it was just dependent on the adults in your life and how they carried themselves. Like, children mirror the adults in their lives. So when you see that, and then when you grow up as somebody who's solution oriented, it's a bit of a struggle to exist in this type of world where it's easy for people to live in denial. And it's hard to establish relationships with others who want to help themselves because so many people are comfortable in their own misery. And especially when it's a family member, you can
Mhm.
throw a life raft at someone, be like, you don't have to be like this. You really don't. Like, try this, try that, whatever the case may be. And
Caretaker, enabler,
yeah,
caretaker, enabler. Mm.
yeah. And I'm 100% guilty of being an enabler, 100%. But it's because I wanted my family to exist cohesively how I envisioned it, not considering that they had their own things to go through. And that just maybe in that time and space, they weren't capable of being able to give me the role that they were designated. So if it's your mother, you're expecting your mother to do certain things or your father to do certain
Absolutely.
things, but then they're not giving that to you, even though that's the expectation. And
Did you
then,
find yourself searching for it in other people?
yeah, oh my God.
Hmm.
Yes. And I mean, I lost my dad when I was 4. So that kind of ruined every relationship with a man I ever had because I was searching for him in everyone. And not only that, like, I didn't know how to have like healthy relationships with men because there just wasn't a male figure present to be able to like kind of give me the 411 on how do you talk to men? What is it that men like? What do they not like? Like, how do you
I know
have a
I,
healthy relationship?
I lost
So
mine at 10 years old and I didn't have it either. So it was like, let me pick and grab from here and let's see how many
right.
wasted relationships we have.
Exactly. And that's, I think, the disconnect there. So and also I've had a lot of issues with women because my relationship with my mom was very tumultuous at one point until recently. Like, thank God it's gotten better because I finally let go of the fact and forgave the fact that she couldn't be who I needed her to be. And that's no fault to her because she didn't have a guidebook as to how to be a mom or guidance counselor, I guess, to some degree, like to provide guidance for me because she didn't have those tools. And I can't blame her for her lack of knowledge and education at the time, the circumstances that she was in as an immigrant woman coming to this country, raising an American child. Like, those dynamics are also very different. It's culturally different. It's a melting pot of not just like personalities because of where we grew up and all of that. It's just like of upbringing, of standards, conditioning, societal pressures, etc. So you learn through healing how much you just don't have to allow those experiences to curate or sort of influence how you move in your life going forward. And becoming a mom myself taught me that, like, I have to be different to make that change for my daughter. Because even in this online space, there's a lot of different people that come from very different backgrounds. Like, we were talking backstage a little bit about some stuff with my own stuff that, like, out of nowhere, like, it just kind of feels like, not everybody likes me, and that's okay. I don't expect to be liked. I don't expect to be loved the way that you love me and I love you and some of the people in the chat. Like, that's okay. Like,
And
I'm
it's their
not
issue. It's not
right. It's their
yours.
issue. So, like, I don't take it personally that people aren't receptive to me. I understand that me as a presence is going to mirror something in you that you probably aren't aware of. And as an observer of behaviors, I can clock all your insecurities, everything I see, but it's not my place to crash out on the internet and expose people or do any of those things because what does that solve? Ultimately, for me, if you have an issue with me or you have a problem with me, I leave it to God and let God handle it because the truth is going to come out regardless. So this space has taught me even relationships with other people. Yes, that
Miss
part.
808 nailed it.
Oh,
She said, I read this once. You like taking care of people because it heals that part of you that needed someone to take
yeah,
care of you. Which
yeah,
brings me, Bill, if you're still with us, um, and Chimmy, please jump in
Yeah.
because I've had some questions from others that when I posted about maybe doing something on boundaries, they were asked the questions that were asked, excuse me, not tolerating disrespect with family members or friends,
Mm-hmm.
how not to continue to chase people, communicating calmly, not arguing when emotions are high. I was bad on that because I would get right in there and that head would be going and
Listen,
as
listen, Miss
fast as you
Renee. Miss
ripping
Renee,
those
you know
earrings
I'm a
out.
Latin woman. You know that fire resides in this body.
Mm.
There is
And
any
then how do you
opportunity. Like,
walk away instead of
oh,
escalating it? So if you want to chime in on any of those were asked. And I'd love to hear
Sure,
from both of you.
sure. Can I jump in also right now?
please,
Sure.
please, girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes.
okay. So now that I know where we're heading with this, one of the things you mentioned, and I totally identified this, is as I was growing up, one of the things I desperately wanted was love. I wasn't getting that.
Mm,
As a matter of fact, I was more along the lines of something that had to be dealt with, but not necessarily. There's nothing behind it. It was like he needs clothes, he needs food. Okay, I'll leave some food out for him, and he has clothes. He'll figure it out. And I never had any example or a model on how to actually interact with people in a healthy manner. And because of that, okay, I was always searching, like you were saying. And one of the things I also learned how to do is read people. And when I read people, also, it was kind of what can I do to get them to pay attention to me, to want to be around me? Okay.
mhm,
And we learn how to read people very quickly. I can see everything about them. I can see their weaknesses, their strengths. I can see also where
mhm,
I can actually manipulate them to get
mm.
what I need and what I want. And what happened was, unfortunately, that's not a real connection.
Yep.
Okay. A real
Not a real
connect.
skill either, but we had it. We had that skill.
Just we had to because it was a survival skill. Okay.
Hmm.
Yep.
Survival.
And and one of the things I learned was one of the things I realized was I could read people very quickly in the sense that I knew what their problem was, and it frustrated me that they didn't see it themselves. And one of the things I've learned as an adult, okay, is how to actually interact with people in a healthy way. To actually have, it's not about protecting, fixing, blah, 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 blah. It's about really about making connection. One of the things I've also learned is what not to do with individuals. I'm now attracted to healthy individuals, okay? Individuals who don't need me to be by their side. And one of the things I've also learned is that if I'm with a person who is trying to put me down, trying to emotionally hurt me or psychologically hurt me, I can simply not even engage with them. I
Yep.
sim-
Preach.
I simply walk away. I don't like
Yeah.
it's been said before, no means no. I don't have to explain it.
Yes.
I don't have to have any details. It's just simply the same thing. No.
Complete
One of the other
sentence. No.
yes,
Mhm.
this is a complete sentence. And the other thing I learned is if I always show up for a person but they can't show up for me, then they're not my friend. They never
Exactly.
were my friend. Okay? The people who I show up for now are the people who show up for me. It's a one for one. It's not a tip for tack. Okay, it's not like I did three things for you. You have to do three things for me. It's simply okay. When I actually had a situation that was emergency, I said, "Hey guys, I can't make it. I'm in the hospital." And the first friend said, "What hospital?"
Mhm.
And then next thing I know, they were there. Didn't ask, didn't have to say anything. They just showed up. That's the
Right.
difference. And in my relationships, for the longest time, I used to be afraid that women would leave me if I wasn't there for them, doing things for them, making them feel good. All those things that you're supposed to do. Well, all the things that my mother did not do for me. I was looking for my mother in the women
Mhm.
I dated because I never got her love.
Right.
And these women weren't my mother. They were
Right.
women with their own needs. And when I finally understood that these are individuals, well, I finally understood why I was dating the same woman over and over again, and I understood why I was doing this, suddenly those women were not attracted to me anymore because I realized they weren't the fix. The fix was internal. And when I realized what it was that I was missing and fulfilled it within myself by saying, you're good enough, blah, 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 all the rest of the stuff, suddenly those women that I used to find attractive were no longer attractive.
Hmm.
And the women that were attractive were women who were secure, well, not secure, who were emotionally available. Because I used to always pick the women who were not emotionally available because that's what I knew.
Hmm. Yes, we have a lot of
That's so
comments out there. I don't know if you're seeing them, Bill, but you're getting a lot.
Bill, you're giving
Unfortunately,
people chills.
You're giving people chills. You're on point.
well, thank you. Unfortunately, I'm on my cell phone, so I can't see those messages. Okay, which is probably maybe a good thing. But what I've learned is that okay, I used to know a lot of people, and once I started focusing on what my needs were and what I needed, once I figured out what the issues were, because I'll put it this way: I was desperate for love. I was
Hmm.
desperate for attention, and I would do whatever it took to get that from another person. If you like this, I like that. If you didn't like that, I didn't like that. If you wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. And I
Right.
realized I was abandoning me
Hmm.
because they never met Bill. None of my friends knew who Bill was because Bill never showed them who Bill was. Because I was afraid that if my parents didn't think Bill was enough, you wouldn't think I was enough also. Because I thought my parents didn't love me because of who I was. And I realized that wasn't the case at all. You mentioned it also. You said basically they had a whole bunch of other stuff going on that basically kept them from being around me. And when I accepted that and realized that, then I realized I'm not a bad person. I did nothing wrong. Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah.
Goodwill Hunting. At the end of Goodwill Hunting, okay, when I forgot his name, the doctor, I'll call him the doctor, when he went to it wasn't Ben Affleck, it was the other guy.
Right. What's his name? I
Yeah,
forgot his name.
yes, Matt
But
Damon.
I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
when he went to
Matt,
Matt
help us,
Damon,
help us.
yeah, he went to Matt Damon and put his arm around him and said, "You, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault." And he broke down and cried.
Hmm.
And that's what happened to me when I realized what happened to me as a child and all that stuff that was going on. It's not my fault.
Exactly.
And as an adult, I can't keep carrying it with me.
Yes.
Okay. And when I realized that, see, that was the big deal. I thought it was always me. I thought I was the problem, but it
Hmm.
wasn't me. Like you said, I didn't have a model to use to know what healthy was. And when
Right.
I realized what that model should have looked like, and when I embraced that model, and when I understood what healthy relationships should look like, then I was able to have healthy relationships or healthier relationships. And I learned not to keep seeking from others the pain I got from a childhood. And I started seeking instead love, acceptance, understanding, caring, giving, and interdependence, okay, as opposed to codependence.
Yes.
Yes. And in keeping anonymity, Bill and I have been in groups for what, maybe 5 years together?
Yeah,
Did we go
but
back?
I guess we have, yeah.
About 5 years, you've tolerated my butt. um, and it's it's been a long journey for me. I'm not gonna use the word sponsor, but when I have been in my deepest, darkest, I know that I could always reach out to Bill and within moments. And that's most important when you're struggling is to find that person that you know you can trust, that's not going to exploit, that's not going to use it against you, that's not going to dramatize it, just being there for you. And I associate that with my Crohn's disease. Like, I don't need you to feel sorry for me. I don't need you to fix me. Sometimes I just need a fucking hug. Excuse my language.
Mhm.
That's all I need. Tell me that you're there. I just want a hug. And a hug is something I never received as a child. I never heard the words I love you from my parents, not one time. Never had a birthday party. So sometimes I just crave that. I just crave that hug. I just want a hug. Let me know you're there. Because I didn't
Mhm.
have anyone there. I'm the youngest of 10 siblings with two parents, and I had nobody. Like, I took care of all them. That's what I did growing up. Took care of all them. And that book, Your Body Keeps the Score, that's why I say I have Crohn's. It wasn't nervous stomach. It was my intestines scarring, not giving anything the ability to move through them. They just kept getting inflamed from stress, and scarring and scarring. So having that little circle to depend on, and Bill is in my little circle of dependables. Um, I'm just blessed to have him in my life. Blessed.
Hey, Bill.
Knowledge, smart, street smarts, aware. It's like
I mean,
the whole thing.
what a privilege it is to sit here with both of you because, like, I mean, thank you, Renee, for even allowing me to be a part of this with Bill and like that you invited me to this. Like, it's such an honor, truly, because I know
I know
how.
you relate to real life stuff, and I knew that it would
Thank you.
hit here and hit here.
You called it. I mean, you peeped it. You're like, you're gonna love Bill. I'm like,
I said, you
yes,
have to
you
be here when Bill
have to
is here.
be
You
here.
have to.
Yeah, no, and thank you for that because truly, like, I think that I'm a big believer. And I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe God puts us in these circumstances at the right time when we need to hear certain messages or to reaffirm kind of what we've been thinking about or whatever the case may be. And as someone who just came back onto the internet after a very long hiatus, finding like-minded individuals is a blessing because this internet world is all about people just kind of projecting their insecurities. And when you're brave enough to host your own show or go on a platform, you're throwing yourselves to the wolves of like the unknown. And having the time to actually heal and know that there's people like both of you that exist is it's just comforting to know that you may not be able to change because it's obviously out of our control how others choose to live their lives or what they choose to do, or rather also what state in their process they're in, but within your own circle that you can have a safe landing spot after you go out to war and battle. Like you can come back and that you're truly genuinely seen and loved. It doesn't have to be by the entire internet, but it's by the people who really see and love you and will never, like you said, Renee, exploit that or put it out on the internet and try to like embarrass you or whatever. Like that is a blessing much bigger than most people can actually conceptualize in today's day and age where technology is just kind of desensitized the human experience where we forget that you know we're real people, we all go through things, and it's not because your situation is better or worse than mine, but it's just having a little bit more compassion that for not only others but especially for self, and knowing how to fit into these spaces, and that they can be a little tumultuous, but that ultimately you find people like Renee and Bill and some of these people in the chat that I know also personally. Like it's been truly a blessing. So I'm really grateful that to have this opportunity to be with both of you today. Like did not expect this, but thank you. Like what a blessing. What a
And it's
blessing.
great. It's to me, it's keeping that circle small and safe. So if you're
Right.
ready, I have other questions from people when I posted
Oh,
about this being here. Go ahead,
so I
Bill.
just, oh yeah, I just want to follow up one thing. One of the
Go
things
ahead.
also is that You're right. When we become self-aware, we no longer allow people to take advantage of us, to use us, to abuse us. And one of the things I
Hmm.
pay attention to, and Renee, you mentioned this. For me, the issue is in the tissues. And I pay attention to my body, and when my
Yes.
body reacts to a situation, especially with a person, I stop because my body is sending me a warning. Something
Hmm.
is wrong. Something is reminding me of some trauma from my past, and I need to step back and pay attention.
Yes.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to
That
keep some
intuitive
score. You
hit.
just gave me chills, but in a good way because you
Yeah.
mentioned that. They were good chills.
So on point.
So the we can go next to recovery style boundaries or social media boundaries. Which one would you like?
I don't
The
know, Bill.
questions.
Up to you.
Well,
You're
social
the real star today, so please, whatever
easy,
you want to
easy does it. Okay, there you go.
Well, a
Well, okay.
lot of recovery does take place online these
Yes.
days. So let's do some social media boundaries. The questions I had, how do you or do not respond to negative comments? How do you or not compare yourself to others? Do you take breaks from social media? And how do you go about not explaining your entire life online and then it being thrown against you?
Okay. Well, hurt people. So I don't pay attention to them. Okay,
My Chimmy
because
says that a lot.
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Because what they're trying to do basically is they don't like other people having a good life. How dare you
Whew.
have a good life? Okay, because I deserve a good life. So I'm going to take you down a couple notches so that we're on the same level. So, and a lot of people are just simply jealous, okay, because we're doing something that they don't have the courage to do, and their fear is holding them back. Okay, so when someone comes at me, then I'm saying to myself, well, you know what really happened just now? I hit a nerve with them. This is something that bothers them. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. That's their problem, not mine. And if I hit a note, I hit a nerve for them, that's something they have to figure out. And
Mhm.
as far as comparing what I see on, okay, there are filters, there's all this other BS that goes on with people who come online and talk about how great their life is. And the fact of the matter is, this is just the illusion they're projecting. Okay, real life is messy. Real life is painful. Real life has ups and downs. What I project, okay, we have three identities. There is the public identity, okay, that we all basically I get dressed up, put on my suit and tie, blah, blah, blah. That's not me.
Hmm.
That's what I'm projecting. And then there's the personal one, okay, and that's the one I share with my friends. But even that one isn't in the entirety of who I am. Okay, because sometimes I'm holding some stuff back, my fears, my regrets. And then there is the real me. And the real me is the one that I have inside, the stuff that I will probably take to my grave, those type of feelings and emotions. So, internet, eh, that's just something I'm on, and basically I don't have to project my real self there, and no one else is either. Okay, and what
Because
I mean by
if you're doing that on the internet, you're using all these filters and you're using all these, upgrades to yourself. If you meet somebody in person, all that shit's not gonna be there.
Exactly.
It's gonna be you.
that's, that's
If you
true.
got them fake booty panties in and that fake bra, and then you go and, have a relationship, that stuff not gonna be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Men, we say that a lot because you wear makeup and everything else, and we don't see the real you until the morning.
Yeah, right. No, it's true. I mean, look,
And you bite the
that's
arm
so
off.
accurate. That's so accurate that
Okay,
you said
Uh,
that for
yeah, but
sure.
that's the same as the internet. That's the same as the
mm,
internet. Okay, internet.
Right.
I'm looking at your image. I'm not looking at who you are. Okay, and that's superficial. That's two-dimensional. I want the three-dimensional person, possibly even the four-dimensional person. That's the emotional piece. So when I get all those pieces, and I don't usually see that until after the honeymoon is over,
Right.
okay, that's when I see the real person. So I don't pay attention to anything that happens on the internet. And trust me, I've had people try to find out who I was. Okay, don't care.
mm,
Don't care. You know what? Because I put my full name on there for a reason. This is who I am. I'm not hiding behind an avatar. I'm not hiding behind some other image. This is me. You're getting the real Bill. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you the stuff that makes me vulnerable to you because that's not something I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you
Right.
strength over me. But I will tell you my truth. The truth, anything I say on the internet, you cannot use against me because it's on the internet. Everyone knows it. So I'm not hiding that from you. Okay. This is me. And if you don't like that, fine. If you like it, fine. Either way, doesn't affect me personally.
Right.
how about
Sorry.
you, Jimmy? Any of those social media boundaries?
I couldn't have said it better myself, Bill, but truly, like, you are just like, I don't know, like, this is, I'm just a little taken aback because I just feel like it's refreshing also to hear it from a male perspective because, a lot of women have, like, I mean, mostly the space when it comes to any type of, like, you know, talk about life, etc. It tends to be female dominant. And I'm just very happy to see a lot more men stepping into their processes and, like, kind of, just giving us some backstory and just information on your own life experiences and how, regardless of our genders, a lot of us are very similar. We experience very similar things. We have very similar issues, and how both of us can kind of, regardless of our circumstances, be able to find similar paths to just showing up as better people overall. What I will say is the one part that really stood out to me is your online persona and who you portray yourself to be online. And I used to make content a few years ago. I used to make cakes, and that was kind of my avenue. And then at one point I would take my makeup looks and match my cakes with it and kind of like wanted to establish my own lane. But even within that world, when you're auditioning for Food Network and all of the, like, big people, because you want to be on TV, that was my dream, was to be on Food Network. Like, you just kind of lose a bit of your authenticity to portraying an image that isn't you. It's something that you just want the world to see. And while I agree with you that you shouldn't have to put your vulnerabilities online, because that kind of gives, people who don't like you ammo to be able to use it against you, I think authenticity, regardless, people who get you because of your authenticity. And I'm not going to ever let too many people into my true inner world, right? Like, I like to joke on, and Renee knows this, and some of the people who come from, like, the JFK show, we call them the long gamers. They're in the chat right now. They know that, like, even JFK has joked that Chimi lives in a spiritual world. She doesn't come down here. And I say that's true because the material world can be so vapid, and, like, it's just, there's no substance behind people anymore because we follow a script to fit in. It's, let me post my child, let me post my life, let me, curate the life that I want you to believe I live. And when I stepped away from all of that, after I was like, this doesn't feel right to me, as much as I love cakes, and PS, I almost got on, actually, I made it onto a Food Network show and I told them no, because the contract was so restrictive. The exclusivity terms were horrible that I was like, they're going to basically own me. Like, to be on a show that may or may not air and I have to be exclusive to them, absolutely not. So I literally walked away from that, because sacrificing even the curated part of myself for someone else to control just was like, that's a boundary I'm not going to allow. And I'll
That's
make my
strict, huh?
yeah, like
Wow.
it was very strict. And even then, before even having like what I call my spiritual awakening later, even then I was already privy to the fact that like this world is designed to strip you of your authenticity. And when you are authentic in any capacity, or you just want to be vulnerable or whatever the case may be, it's used, exploited to kind of deter you from being that so that you can kind of become robotic to some degree. Like, it's like, yes, this is my life. This is what I do. We all buy the same shirt for spring 2026. Like, you lose like the essence of who you are and who you were designed to be. So with that said, there are boundaries around like your image, but I think that's also a protective thing. It's like, for example, I go by it an avatar because there's a lot of weirdo people on the internet. And as a female, you know, granted, you can find anyone at this point, but I'm going to make you work a little harder before I could think that potentially someone is going to like search for me, you know what I mean? Know where I live or whatever the case may be. And also, I do think that, you know, like I, as an artist, and that took me a very long time to actually say that, sometimes the way that we express a part of ourselves or let people into our inner world is through our art. So like the Chimi thing is very exclusive to me. It's very meaningful because Chimis are sandwiches, okay, that you get after a club in Washington Heights. They're these Dominican sandwiches, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to party up there a lot in my younger years. And it was so fun. And like that, I would look forward to this one sandwich that was only exclusive to this area. So when I was thinking about coming back online, I was like, I kind of became known as someone who was imparting words of wisdom unintentionally. I don't have like a platform, but I enjoy being a guest for others. And, you know, I started to gain this reputation of just kind of just sharing real life experiences and just allowing wherever it goes, it goes. And when I thought about this name, it was like my whole purpose is, you know, how you have to go to Washington Heights to have a chimney. You're going to come to me because it's so rare and it's a gem, but you have to go find it. It's kind of like, that's kind of how I try to live it now. It's like, I don't try to force myself out there. If you see me and you find me, it was meant for you. And if it's not, that's okay. So that's the artistry part of it, you know, but that's a part of my identity. But like who I really am, like in terms of like this is not a persona. This is an aspect, a part of my personality. Because Renee will tell you like how I'm speaking to you now and how I speak to her. I'm like this with her behind the scenes, and that's I enjoy that too, because I do think that just feeling comfortable in your own skin already resonates with the people who are craving authenticity in a world where everything has been curated. So I really love
Fake.
that you go, yeah, it's fake. It's like, yes, I have a little bit of concealer, honey. You know, I'm a woman. I have my own little
I have
insecurities.
wrinkles. I do too, but you know, I
Yeah,
don't
I
have
mean,
a
I've never
filter
gotten
over
work
me right
done.
now.
I have not done some work, and look, no disrespect to anyone who has, but like, you know, the genetics came in clutch. Thank you, ancestors. But you know, like as a woman, yeah, you fall prey to certain things and you want to look your best. But even with that, I think that there is something to be said about people who put a little bit more effort into wanting to appear like I feel good. It's not because I look good or want to look good for anyone. It's just I feel good
Yes.
in my little, you know, Easter-esque little egg type like pattern shirt and
Feeling
my
good,
glasses.
feeling
Like,
good about yourself. It's healthy. Like
yeah.
I love doing my hair. I love dressing up. I
Yes,
love
Miss
doing
Renee
those
with her
things.
hair
I feel
always
like a woman.
looking beautiful.
The hair is important.
But I think that's a
Well,
very but the long story short, and it's very long-winded and I apologize, but it's more when you think about it in terms of like your personalities, all of those things can exist. It's just that you have a right to reserve parts of yourself for others that, you know, the internet doesn't have to see. That's the
Mhm.
disconnect now, is that people conflate I'm being real by telling you all of my information and overdoing it, like telling you my marital issues and all of this other stuff to be relatable versus like reserving some of that because privacy is a luxury nowadays. You don't have to share every aspect of who you are with everyone all the time. I don't know half of the people that, you know, say hi to me in the chat. I'm putting my face out there. So is Renee. And you, even with your voice, is out on the platform. But some of these are screen names with, like, you know, cute pictures of their pets or babies or, like, you know, whatever else they're into. And I'm talking to them like, I'm like, hey, what's up? Nice to see you. French toast, one, two,
Mm-hmm.
three. But I don't know French toast, one, two, three. But you know a little bit more about me. So all of that to say is, you're totally on point with that, that like there are aspects to our personality, that who we put on social media. But I think that there is a shift coming in where, like, people are craving more of these types of dynamics, these type of conversations where it's not about putting your whole life online to like gain attention, but it's more for awareness and to humanize people again. Because the fake, the phony, the celebrity, the like the Prada, the Gucci, all of that, people are tired of it. If anything, have we noticed that like a lot of people are going back to like wanting to like pickle cucumbers and like grow tomatoes? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're going back to a more natural, more
Organic place.
authentic, organic place. And it comes with people, like, you know, who have done the work on themselves to kind of like be the leaders in, even if it's not your intention to lead, you're unintentionally, unconsciously leading by showing that the work that you've done on yourself and how you choose to live your life is possible. So if anything, I've taken this social media thing with my avatar and all of that, which I enjoy. And I've never really shared like what, like, at least not to that full extent, why I chose Chimi and all of that. But now that I have, it's like, those are all aspects that have brought me to this point. And, you know, sometimes my words will resonate with people, and that's all that matters. It's not about fame, attention, or any of that. It's our collective consciousness is at a point of awakening, and we have been awakening for a long time. And for those of us who feel called to share how we've gone through the trenches and survived it, and can kind of come on a platform and assist others to awaken that point in wherever they're at, beautiful. If you're able to do that, great. And if you're not, that's okay too. So these conversations about bringing awareness to that, we all kind of relate on the same BS. We've all been through it in our own ways, but we're here. So how do we go forward? That is like where I feel like social media and all of this stuff, like your identity, your personality, your authenticity, all of that relates and plays into where we're going. We're at that point right now. So it can be a blessing and a curse, because there's always going to be, you know, people who are going to try you. El Diablo, I always say, like, if I had $1 for every time El Diablo tried me, I'd have an island by now. You know, like, I have all the money in the world to be able to do a lot of things. But, you know, this is life. It's not meant to be easy, but it's meant to be lived, experienced, and hopefully unifying all of us to kind of like understand that we're all allowed to be here and we are meant to be here.
That leads me to a part of recovery that I know that I had to search for, and I don't want to speak for Bill, but it's called emotional sobriety. And you want to give a little explanation on some emotional sobriety, Bill?
Sure, sure. I'm going to follow up one thing first, and then I'll go into emotional sobriety. Okay.
Oh, and let me stop you for 1 second. There was a question on the social media from Conlan that I thought was interesting, and it's, don't you think some people put themselves out there for attention on social media?
Oh, without question.
Absolutely.
Without question.
100.
Yeah, a lot of people are needy. They're lonely. They don't have, I don't want to say they don't. What's happened is society has gotten to a point where we no longer have true interactions, personal interactions. It's transactional. And because of that, people are very lonely now. And you see that with a lot of men, because a lot of men don't know how to interact with women in a healthy manner. They see what they see on TV and they think that's how it's supposed to be, and it's not. And I apologize if I said something to any women out there in regards to the pressure that's put on you to look a certain way. That is completely unfair. because most of the men out there, if they try to live up to the same level of expectations that they expect women to live by, they they would fall very, 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 very.
Well, you have your own pressures because you're expected to have six figures in the bank account and, hold down the house. And,
That's
we all have our expect.
that's true.
Each gender has
See,
their expectations, essentially.
yeah, I feel all of that's unrealistic. The
Right.
bottom line basically is, do you get along? Do you
Mhm.
get along? That's all that really matters. Okay. One of the things you also mentioned is authentic. Okay. Are you authentic? I want you can hear someone who's authentic in their voice, in their mannerisms, in the way they handle themselves on a continuous basis. I don't listen to what people say, I watch what they do.
Mm.
And one of the other things you
100.
mentioned is that I found very, very, I relate to is artists. Artists put themselves out there. You're putting yourself out there because your art is a piece of who you are.
Mhm.
That's your emotions. You're putting your emotions out there. That I know this because I did some writing, poetry, short stories, stuff like that. And I asked one of my friends who was a writer. I said, "Here's some writing. Could you take a look at it and tell me what you think?" And she got back to me and she said, "Well, Bill, it's okay." And she said, it's kind of like what everyone else puts out there. And I go, what's wrong with it? And she says, it's in the third person.
Mm.
You're not putting anything of you out there. You're putting out there what everyone else is putting out there. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I went back and I wrote from the first person. And when I wrote that, it felt raw. I felt vulnerable.
Mhm.
This is me on paper. And I showed it to her. And she says, this is good, Bill. This is really good. And I said, but I don't want to put it out there. And she said, why not? I said, because it's me. That's me on the paper.
Mhm.
And she said, don't worry about it, Bill. Because when someone reads this, they're not thinking it's you. They're thinking how it relates to them.
Mhm.
Okay? That's the feeling they're getting. Good writing makes people feel things from their own standpoint, from their own being. So if you can write like that, you're writing well. And it has absolutely nothing to do with you. They're not thinking that this is about you, unless it's autobiography. but as far but as far as they're concerned, if you're stirring emotions in them, that's what they appreciate.
Yes.
Okay. So I really feel for artists because when your art that you're putting out there is rejected, you feel rejected. And
For
as an
sure.
identity, yes. And as an
Mhm.
identity, I used to confuse myself when people used to say, "Hey, so Bill, tell me something about yourself," and I would lead with, "Oh, well, I'm a Wall Street stockbroker," and that's not who I am. That's what I
Right.
did. Who I
Yes.
am is I'm the guy that likes to, do photography. I'm the guy that likes to go to see artwork. I'm the guy that likes to sit down and just have a cup of coffee. All these things, that's who Bill is. What I
Mhm.
do is not who I am. And when I started to realize that, then it became, yes, coffee, right? I'm from
Yes.
Brooklyn.
And the cheers for
Cheers.
Renee because I made sure to have
Ding, ding.
coffee with Renee. I made sure.
Fill up a
Like,
chair
sure.
in your favorite drink.
Right.
Yes.
Now the other thing you mentioned, Renee, could you remind me again what the question was? I'm sorry.
Yep. Um, Emotional sobriety.
Emotional sobriety. Emotional sobriety. Wow, that's a good one because emotional sobriety is something that you learn about being yourself, about being comfortable in your own skin, being grounded in who you are and accepting who you are, and not allowing anyone to tell you anything different or that who you are is not. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be accepted, but
When
emotional
I
sobriety.
found my emotional sobriety, it meant to me that I didn't have to react right away, when I would
Mhm.
always be a reactor and not just sit back and take my lane. But when I knew that I had to stop reacting and especially reacting negatively. Go ahead.
No, you're right. Yeah, I don't care what it. Okay, emotional sobriety is being, like you said, there are things out there that control and manipulate me because I'm trying to appease or please other people, okay, so that I'm accepted.
Hmm.
I no longer looking for acceptance from others. I accept who I am, and I accept. And if you don't accept who I am, that's not my problem. That's yours. And emotional sobriety allows me to be okay with how I interact with the world. I can
Right.
choose not to interact with individuals. I can choose not to do things. I can say no because it's not something I want to do, and I don't have to explain myself. Okay, so emotional sobriety is being okay with the things that I do because I want to do them and not because I have to do them or because someone else wants me to do them or someone expects me to do them. I
Hmm.
do the things, and don't forget, and let me clarify that. There are certain things you obviously need to do. I have to pay my bills. I have to go to work.
Right.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yes, that's a must.
Okay. I'm not talking about those things. Okay. I'm talking about the choices I make in my life that
Yes.
I choose to make.
Not needing everyone to like me.
You know what?
Exactly.
I
I'd
don't
rather
have
not.
to match. Yeah,
I'd rather have just
Same.
10 people. 10 people. That's all I need. 10 people in my inner circle who we can sit on the phone and talk for 3 hours and go, wow, we've been on the phone for 3 hours. And I mean, what is interesting about this, I don't have to talk to everyone every single day. Some of my
Right.
we've
best
had those
friends,
3-hour conversations, my friend.
yes, we have. Yes, we have. But we don't have to have them every week, every day, every month. When they happen, they happen.
Exactly.
They're
Hmm.
organic.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Okay. And I will say this. I saw something in the someone's text something. It says something about me. I tend to, and I do this for my own security. I tend to keep women at arm's length. And the reason I do that is because there are a lot of women who've been with men who have treated them very, very badly on a lot of different levels, emotional, financial, whatever. And what I've discovered is that because I listen, because I pay attention, because I'm a nice guy,
Let me
because
guess, you're flirting.
That's true.
women confuse my attention,
Hmm.
okay, with me wanting more than a friendship.
Yep.
So I have to make sure that
You have
boundary
to be careful. Big
Yes.
boundary there. Big boundary
is
there.
is solid.
Bill,
So
Yeah,
thank you
because
for
as
saying
women,
that.
we're not used to men like that. We're not used to men having that ear to listen. We're not used to men understanding. We're not used to men caretaking. So, I can see where that would come from, the attention that would create in somebody like, oh, he likes me. Let me see if I
Yeah.
can try to get this to go in a different direction.
right,
Or like giving
especially
any attention. Oh, he's paying attention
Mm-hmm.
to me.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, especially when I follow up with you. Like, hey, remember what happened 2 weeks ago? We were talking about that. What happened with that? And then you go, my goodness, he was listening.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish all
And
men
it's
were
like
like that.
me, it makes me cry. When he listens to me, it makes me cry because it's like, oh my God, someone's listening to me. It's not like, oh my God, he's in love with me. It makes me
Right.
cry. That's where it hits
Right.
me. He heard what I said. Somebody finally freaking heard what I said. Thank you.
Yeah. And if I may, Bill, like you're absolutely right. And I think that that's a part of why, like, when I came back to the internet, one of the things that I started to observe is how we have unhealthy relationship dynamics between the sexes. And, one of the things that, I'm kind of a very, I'm a guest that's a frequent guest on the JFK show, and it's a group of guys. So I'm like one of the only females that kind of goes there. And I've never had a group of men be so respectful. But like to me, they're like my brothers. Like I look at
Yeah,
them
they
as siblings.
respected me up there too. They're
Yeah,
they're made.
they've
They
always been
respect women.
respectful to the women in the chat. They know that their audience is predominantly women.
You'll
And,
have to check them out, Bill.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're cool dudes. Like to me, like they're like my brothers. Like I respect and love them so much just because like we're able to have healthy conversations. And if anything, it was like that's what is needed right now is this mutual respect for people without it feeling like it's feelings of love and I'm obsessed with you now and like I'm gonna do everything, and risk it all. Like no, like we can't, like no, like it's just nice to be able to talk to people on a real level, regardless if you are a man or a woman or vice versa. It doesn't matter. That it's from a place of love for wanting to see you grow and feel seen and heard versus it like be like a Disney love story that you're fantasizing in your head. Like that's not reality. And what you had said earlier about like people feeling lonely on the internet or seeking attention, that's a real thing. That's the whole danger of like parasocial relationships. I've been talking about this for a little while now that, people kind of become obsessed with the idea of having access to an online personality and will do things to attain that. But access doesn't mean ownership or entitlement to that person's attention, their energy, their time. People can be nice to you without it triggering some unhealed wound of you thinking they're in love with you. You know what I mean? Like that's a boundary that's like really crazy. And then also, if you're the online personality, you're setting boundaries because, if you have that ability, like that natural way of speaking to others and you're very easygoing, you become likable. And I mean, you can't control how other people perceive you or what they're going through and what fantasy they're building in their head. But it is important to even then set limitations and to set those very firm boundaries with people who are showing patterns of behavior of attention seeking, of slight desperation, of like wanting to be seen all the time or whatever the case may be, because that's a you problem. You know what I mean? That's a them problem. That's not a you problem. It's a them problem. Like they have to figure that out. But we're all allowed to exist in this space, even if we don't get along, if we get along or not. It's just getting to a point of being able to have these relationship dynamics where like we can have healthy discourse and conversation, healthy debate, even if we don't agree with things, without it being something more than just that. Like take it for what it is in that moment, and don't overdo it. But loneliness can bring out, the sad parts about people that want to be loved, want to be seen. And, some people take it too far. And I don't know. I mean, we can go on for days on that topic, but, I'll just leave it there and just say, like, I appreciate you saying that because
Bill,
you're right.
I'm going to direct a question to Bill. When you found yourself in that situation where women were taking your intentions a different way, have you had to remove yourself from places, situations, experiences because of it? And how did you?
One of the things, it was part of when I was growing up. One of the things I was desperate for is I wanted attention. So I was putting myself in I was behaving in such a way where I was getting attention from a lot of women, but it was coming across the wrong way. And what I was finding was that the women would, this is why I have this boundary now, women were getting confused. Some women thought I was love bombing him. Okay. And other women were like, oh, I'll rephrase it. How many women have been nice to people, have been nice to a man? You're friends, you hang out together, you goof around, you do all these different things. And then suddenly out of the blue, the guy tries to give you a kiss or asks you out for a date. And you go, whoa.
Didn't expect that coming. That was a curveball, but knock it out the park. I don't want it.
Yeah, whoa. We're just friends. And then they get upset.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, and then they get mad at you because you're like, well, you're just leading me on. or, well, I guess you're a lesbian. And then they start
Right.
saying all these mean, nasty things about you.
Hmm.
Okay. That happened to me. And I had to step back and go, okay, so what's going on here? And I realized two things. Okay. Lesbian women, and I'm bringing this up for a reason. Lesbian women who were hardcore lesbians, had no interest in men whatsoever, never said that to me. It never got confusing to them because they knew it was just a conversation between the two of us. And they didn't get emotionally confused. Women who had been in healthy relationships with men did not get confused about the conversation. Women who were not in recovery programs did not get into a confusion because we didn't share on that level of intimacy.
Hmm.
We talked about things, not about not about trauma. Trauma, I would bond with women over trauma.
Trauma bonding. Yeah.
Hmm.
I have empathy and I would have sympathy. And they confused that with something other than what it was.
Feelings.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
feelings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Women who were in healthy relationships and we talked about the artwork because it was nice, we never went to that emotional level. So they weren't confused either. And when I realized that was the connector, that the women who were in unhealthy relationships or had been love bombed or had been in situations with men that had harmed them, I realized those were definitely the women I had to make sure the boundaries were clear
Hmm.
because they weren't clear, because neither one of us knew what healthy was. So I had to figure out what healthy was for Bill so I could then project healthy to others.
Yes. And I may I just chime in, Renee, if that's okay, just to add to that.
Of
It's
course.
I think that it's really great that you have emphasized that because I always tell people like I show up as I am and I'm not, this is me and how I treat myself resonates and is seen. I love myself, I take care of myself, I respect myself. So I'm not going to meet you at your level, wherever that might be. You have to come up to where I'm at. And I kind of mirror that to people. Like, I believe 100% that God put me on this earth as bait. And I don't mean this in like a, and
And
it's not in a,
it takes a lot of work to have that self-respect because not there's people that have to learn it. There's people that have to understand it. So it takes a lot to have that self-respect. And that's what
yeah,
allows you to do your boundaries.
right. But imagine like, so I had this realization, and it's not because I think I'm anything special, but we're all assigned a certain purpose. And I have the capability to bring out certain things out of people. So I am the bait in some degree. I'm going to basically be a mirror to people. And because I've really truly, not just for myself, but because I have a daughter, like I worked on myself so that I can model a healthier way of living for her. You realize that because you had mentioned earlier, hurt people hurt people. When you are in a different phase of your healing process, you're carrying a certain frequency, a certain vibe, a certain energy that is the mirror to others. And some people will see you and be like, wow, like, Bill, you're so inspirational. You're so cool. Like everything you're saying is like spot on. And then other people will take it and be like, oh, Bill thinks he's like such a big deal, and it's like not even like that. It's just, you just are. And that's what I've kind of like tried to tell people is like, being just you, being as you are, will naturally bring people that are aligned with you, who understand you. It's also going to attract the others who are going to test you. But even with those, you handle them with grace. But when you just are, like I just am, it takes work to get here, but then the boundaries are natural. Like it isn't something that needs to be spoken. It just is. It's like, it's through, like you had mentioned earlier as well, your actions, how you participate in certain areas, in certain arenas. How do you handle conflict? It's people nowadays just expect an answer. They expect you to have to explain yourself. They expect you to have to like do like a whole video on YouTube with like the white background and the white blouse to make you look innocent. Like, you know, like the propaganda of it all, like to be like, I did not make the light, by the way. Did you just see that? It was a little bit dark and it just got really light. I'm sorry. That was just pretty wild. That was pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, there it goes again. Now it's like
And
that.
that's part of emotional sobriety is not over explaining
Yeah,
yourself. You can set boundaries without long explanations, and then you can walk away, because
right.
that's
And
also
also,
emotional sobriety and maturity. It's not avoidance. You can walk away and just stay in your
right.
lane.
Because sometimes people want an explanation, but they are committed to misunderstanding you. And that's not something that can be explained any other way except for I'm just going to show you better than I can tell you. And it's not because out of disrespect for you, because at the end of the day, how I handle conflict is if there is a personal conversation that we have, and let's say we disagree on something and I set a boundary and you don't want to respect it, I'm going to let you know if if we're in the heat of that conversation, be like, you know what? I respect you for who you are. I understand where you're coming from, but this is not working out for me. I don't really appreciate this type of engagement. And with love and light, I'm leaving it right here. I'll afford you the closure. In that moment, it's not always afforded to everybody, but if I'm in the heat of something with someone in that moment, I like to just close the chapter and move on. If I see the person, I'm not going to be a jerk to them. I'll coexist with them, and it is what it is. And sometimes those people will try to bait you, and you're like, I'm not taking the bait. It's no disrespect, but like your need for attention from me, even though I've established this boundary, is not my issue. Like with love and light, I wish you well, right? Like,
Thank you. Peace out.
peace out. And that's a part of emotional maturity. It's like someone else's feelings are not your problem. And it's no disrespect to them. But like I tell my child this, I'm like, where are your feelings? And she'll point to herself. And I'm like, exactly. They exist within you. So what mommy can do from the outside is provide an ear to listen to you,
Yeah.
can give you a hug, can help you throw a pillow if you're frustrated, can help you
Talk
like
about how we can change
stomp
it.
around. Yeah, you could stomp
Mhm.
around. We can like exercise it out of your system. But I cannot go inside of your brain and inside of your body to handle and help you deal with those emotions. I can only provide you tools like the pillow. If you're angry, we may not know what that feeling is or why you're angry, but why don't we let it out? Throw the pillow, stomp around. You need to scream, scream in the pillow. Don't scream out loud because you know people nowadays they're like all like, especially in
What's she
we're
doing
all
to
too
her
close
daughter over there?
together. We're all too close together. I don't want people to think anything else, you
Right.
know. But you just find those ways to do that. So if my child can have that understanding, I kind of do expect that adults are going to understand that too. Your feelings reside within you. And ultimately, nothing anyone outside of you can truly go inside to work on those wounds. That's an active commitment that you have to make to self to be able to heal those parts of you. And then you realize, like, when you don't seek attention and you actually just fall back and allow things to come to you, the right opportunities and the right people will start to naturally gravitate towards you. You don't have to fight. If you have to fight so hard for something or like push too hard for something,
Right.
like
We're not
nothing else,
controlling outcomes. We're just doing our
exactly, like
part and we
it's
let
not for
go of the
you.
rest. Do our part, let go of the rest. I can't control the outcome. Yeah.
Exactly. Like just let things rock. And that comes with having a healthier nervous system and just kind of learning how to like regulate yourself. And for those of us like Bill, you know, being in a city, our nervous system it from day one is hyper alert. It is hyper vigilant. It is hyper everything that you can think of because we are constantly like in a very high intense environment. So our
Oh,
nervous
it's
system,
not easy here in the country just because it says Florida. Don't think it's all
of
guns,
course,
all bed of roses here in the
yeah,
country.
no, for sure.
It's a little crazy.
I guess I could just say it as being a born and raised New Yorker. It's a
But I
little
understand because New
a
York is just
different
busy, busy,
experience.
busy, 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 busy everywhere. So yeah, you
Yeah,
have to be on high alert.
right. And that's the thing. It's like, you're constantly on high alert. So a lot of it is when you like I moved out to like a more calmer area and I'm like, wow, the trees are really great because I'm not hearing like at 5 in the morning the freaking ambulance and the fire trucks and then someone's like, like I'm like, it's just nice to have a sense of peace and quiet and to be able to regulate. You don't have somebody above you, on either side of you, beneath you. You're just kind of like finally at a place where you can find peace.
Chica, one of my neighbors just got a rooster. Do you think I'm
A
liking that?
rooster?
Hmm.
Do you think I'm liking that? I'm from Boston. Do you think I'm liking that rooster?
Listen, I love a rooster. I love a chicken. I love the farm animals,
But don't be
etc. There's
cockadoodling
a
at
time and place,
5
though.
a.m. 4 a.m.
Hmm.
Good Lord.
There's a time and place. There's a time and place
I'm
for
gonna
sure.
answer Amy's question real quick. Amy, I know you came
Sure.
in late. This is my friend Bill. Um, we've had a long recovery journey and we're also personal friends. So we've known
Yes.
each other for a very long time. And he's an inspiration to me. He's somebody that I look up to. He's somebody that I trust. He's somebody that I know that I can confide my deepest, darkest in, and I know that everything will stay with him. So that's my take on getting
Okay.
any more personal.
Okay. I'm
So
going to
Amy, this is Bill.
qualify that. I'm going to
Hmm.
qualify that. We learn from each other. Okay.
Absolutely,
And one of the
absolutely.
things I want to make
I've
sure
been on.
people,
He has a show, and I have a speaker show. We've spoke. Both of us have spoken Australia. We've spoken the UK. We've spoke.
Oh.
I've been on his show in New York. He's been on mine here in Florida. But go ahead, expand, Bill.
okay. One of the things I want to let, uh, I will say this is that I'm constantly trying to improve the person that I want to become. I'm constantly open to new ideas. There are still things I'm working on and still trying to figure out. And that is part of my journey. And my journey includes these things. Being here is part of my journey, not necessarily just to share what I have been through, but to listen to others and learn from them also. And I'm learning a lot today. There are
Can
still
you
some
see
things
that question on the screen?
hang on one second. I finally figured out how to work the chat.
I can read it
Okay.
to you. It's on
Yeah.
the screen. It says, I think it's at JC Jason, New Jersey said, I think it's important to identify mixed signals and decide how you want to negotiate that. People send mixed signals for the backup plan to avoid abandonment. What you think?
To identify mixed signals is tricky. Oh, did I just? Are you still there? Okay, cool. I think
Yep,
I may
still
have.
here.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Mixed signals sometimes can be mixed up in and of themselves. And the reason I say that is because if I'm looking at something through my personal filter of experiences, I can I can misread a signal because it may remind me of something that I went through that has absolutely nothing to do with what the person is saying.
Hmm.
And that sometimes can be a problem. So, what I may want to do if I think a person has said something that's a mixed signal, I can ask for clarification.
Clarity
Clarify
is
right
everything.
away.
Yes, rather than jumping into, thinking, oh, you just insulted me? Wow. And then run down a path. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not what I said at all. What I asked you about was, did you want vanilla or chocolate ice cream? Not whether or not, you got a problem with the store, with my choice. No, it had nothing to do with that at all. It had to do with the fact that I was wondering if you wanted vanilla or chocolate ice cream. Not
Right.
that, I don't want to be here. So clarity is very important. asking for qualification and clarity before you make a decision based on your emotional reaction. If I have an
Mhm.
emotional reaction to something that I have to basically, I'm a person who has very strong opinions. And sometimes I want to overwhelm other individuals with my opinion. No, that's not the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
The right thing to do has already been mentioned. Okay. I can simply say, I don't want to engage in this because it's not becoming a healthy interaction. I need to step away. And that I think fits into just about every single category. Okay. If I misunderstand someone, get clarification. Make sure if my emotions start running hot, I need to step away and cool down. There's
Mm-hmm.
all these different things that we can learn from our experience to help us have healthier interactions with other individuals. And more importantly, it doesn't take away resentment, anger, jealousy, all hurt me as a person. And I want to avoid that at all costs.
Yep. I
Awesome.
agree.
Awesome.
Bill, you were wow. Like truly, it's like it's just so rare to encounter people that like sometimes it's very isolating when you have a certain thought process and when you start to get to know people. And I think a part of it is we've been taught to not judge. And while I agree with that to a certain extent, I think that it's important to use your discernment and kind of feel things out. And for a lot of people, since there's a lot of hurt people out there and who may not be aligned with what it is that you believe in, it's just so rare to find someone who to find people that have done the work on themselves to be able to articulate their points so clearly. Because I mean, even with the topic of mixed signals, I mean, if we're doing mixed signals, then that's already confusion. And for me, confusion is going to lead down a path of having to overanalyze and figure things out. You should feel comfortable just articulating your thoughts in a very straightforward manner, and how it's received by the other person you can't control, but at least it's establishing where you're at. And just like, you go down the street, there's a store that sells ice cream. It's you come down this street, this is exactly where I stand. Right. So it's just very rare to find people who have that process. And like it's been difficult for me because I tend to isolate. I love my isolation. I love to be solo in a lot of ways. And it's not because I don't like people. It's just more that it's kind of a recharge sanctuary
It's your
from
serenity and peace.
it's my serenity and peace. And like it's my way to kind of reconnect with my intuition, with my faith, and kind of take in the environment and just nature and just be at peace.
There's
So
healthy isolation, and then there's
yeah,
unhealthy
because people are like,
isolation.
why are you isolated? Why don't you want to come
Mhm.
out? And it's like, well, those things aren't necessarily fulfilling for me at this stage in my life. And
Mm.
I'm about to enter my 40s, like very soon. I'm going to turn 40. So, to see like my dad, when he died, he was 29. I've lived after that.
So
So I have a different level of appreciation for time and energy because of that, because it's so sacred and so limited that I knew I had to put this healing process as a priority to kind of get to where you're at and close to where you're at, Bill, because I mean, I know I can learn so much still and I want to. And it's just rare again to just find people who are 100% in their process and just owning it and not having any guilt or shame or anything around it, that you're just living as Bill. And what a true honor it is. Like, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm like having just a moment of just like, wow, like there are more people who actually have done the work, because it's been so hard to find in my real life, in my personal life, like online. So it's just so cool to like be a part of this. Renee,
it's a
sorry,
lot.
I'm leaving you the
I
garden,
won't
Bill.
even if I mention the work, I have to mention other platforms, and because of anonymity, I'm not allowed to do that. But there's a lot of work,
Mhm.
and I know that I have kept everyone past that hour. So, anything you'd like to say?
You're breaking up a little,
You're,
Renee.
yeah, you are breaking up, Renee. You're breaking up.
I know in the background. I said I know I have everybody past the hour. So, if you want
You're
to say
still breaking
something,
up, Renee.
Yeah. It's still breaking up, Renee.
hang on.
Okay. Well, Avril, one of the things that I will mention, okay, is that one of my biggest issues is I've always kept myself small to fit in,
Mhm.
okay, so that other people wouldn't become resentful or intimidated by me. And that's been to my it didn't allow me to find people like me.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you in a roundabout way is I
Is that
identify with you
any
also.
better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
much better, much better.
It's really awesome. It's so rare. And like, and it's not because people don't have the potential to do it. I do believe that everyone has the capacity to get to this point. It's just that not everyone is confident enough in their ability to be disciplined to commit to themselves because we've all been just told that we can't, or whatever our upbringing has caused traumas that
Is
make
that
us
any
avoid
better?
it. Yes, much
Okay.
better.
Much better, much better.
I know that I have kept everybody past their hour. So, in closing, I'd like to ask Bill
Yeah.
to say something and then Chimmy, and then we'll end the stream. So, come on, Bill. And
Life is an adventure, and we need to embrace it and live it, and always take into not be afraid of new things because if we're not growing, we're not living. And I just don't want to live. I want to thrive. So
Hmm.
opportunities are always there for us to do whatever is out there and not be afraid. Because for me personally, I need challenges in my life to continue to grow. And if I'm running away from challenges, then my life is getting smaller, not growing. And I want to continue to grow because life is meant to be lived, not just to exist.
That's beautifully
thank
said.
you, Bill. Beautifully said. Chimmy?
I stand with Bill. Like that. That was beautifully said. I can't articulate that point any clearer or more gracefully than that. And I 100% agree with that. I think I just extend that to everyone that if we can be examples because we choose to be on these platforms, that's a difference. Like we're just here because we want to be and to inspire others that the work that we've done on ourselves is capable and possible for you to do on your own. You don't have to think that you can't get somewhere or you can't do something. You can. Don't compare yourself to others and where they're at in their life. It's not a competition. Everyone is in their own lane. And you just might be on a path that looks a little bit different. You might be ahead in certain things and you may be behind in others. We all are. None of us are. The road to growth is like this. It's a roller coaster. You never have like a perfect path forward, but the point is to keep going and to just commit to that. Commit to your growth. Know that it's going to be different for you because we're all different. And like Bill said, most of us just want to thrive and it is possible to get there. You just have to be committed to that.
Thank
You
you,
did
Chimmy.
you did
Thank
top me. You did top me.
Wow.
I would
We
like
enhanced each
to
other. We enhanced each other there.
just a few reminders. Always protect your peace because choosing calm over being right, in my opinion, feels better in my soul. I need to choose my peace. I need to choose my arguments. And I'm at the point in my life where I don't want to argue anymore. I'd rather choose my peace. So I choose calm over being right when I even know I'm right. And maybe that's wrong, but that's what I choose. Not rescuing people. I'm done with that. I need to let people experience the consequences of what they've chose to do. It's time that you grow up. Grow up. That consequence is yours, and not controlling outcomes. I do my part and I let go of the rest. So
Yeah.
thank you
Amen.
guys so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Mhm.
What an
If it's
honor.
helped you, don't forget to. I'm feeding the dogs treats right now. So if you see me look away, that's what I'm doing. So they quit barking. Thanks again for being here. And remember, choosing peace is always a powerful choice. Thank you,
Yes.
Bill. Thank you, Chimmy. Love you
Thank
Thank you,
guys.
you.
Renee. Thank you, Chimi.
Love you. Thank you, Bill. So nice to meet you.
It's good to
Well,
meet you also.
we're gonna have
Yeah.
you back again when you feel better. You just let me know,
Yes, feel
okay?
better. Please feel better. Prayers
Can
to
we have
you.
I like to have all three of us back together. I really think this is a good connection.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
I love
Definitely.
that. I love that. Yes.
That we
Thank
will do.
you.
All right.
Renee, when you log off, I'll meet you backstage. If you
Okay.
go, if you're not going live, I'll meet you backstage.
All right. Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for
Bye,
being here.
everyone.
Okay, ciao.
Bye,
Ciao.
Bill.
And we figure out how to log off.